Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Adidas Speedex Ultra boxing shoes. So check it out. Hey guys, Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review on the Adidas Speedex Ultra boxing shoes. These retail for $220 on the Adidas website, although I did get mine on sale for $89. Sometimes Adidas has sales or promotional deals on their website throughout the year, so you can really strike gold and get yourself a really good deal. In this case, it was a no-brainer for me because the discount was huge. It was from $220 all the way to $89 for a relatively new boxing shoe from Adidas, so I had to pull the trigger and pick these up. I got mine in the white and neon green colorway in size 11. They also make this in a black and gold with a little bit of red, as well as an all gray with black colorway. Sizing wise, as small as size 4 all the way to size 14 in men's, and they do offer this shoe in half sizes. Now, as far as sizing goes, this is what I would consider to be a regular fit shoe, meaning that if you have a normal size foot or width foot, should I say, or a narrow foot, this should fit true to size for you. If you are like myself and you do have wide feet, I would go a half size up. That's kind of the general rule of thumb, especially when it comes to boxing shoes, because boxing shoes typically run a little bit more tighter and a little bit more narrow, especially Adidas and Nikes. They typically just run a little bit more snug and form-fitting. So for me, I've done this in other videos where I review boxing shoes. I usually wear a size 10 and a half when it comes to my other shoes, when it comes to my running shoes or my casual shoes I wear out. But with boxing shoes, I go with size 11, so I go a half size up. So for those of you that are like myself that have wide feet, definitely go a half size up if you are unsure about the width of the shoe. As far as the height of the shoe, I would say that this is kind of in between a mid-top to a high-top boxing shoe. It's a little bit higher as far as the ankle support than the Speedex 18. I did a review on the Speedex 18 and I got the blue and red colorway a little while back. Was really impressed with those shoes. To me, this is a little bit more of a supportive and robust version of the Speedex 18. They made a couple small tweaks, and if you want to call it improvements compared to the Speedex 18, for those of you that really need it. One's going to be the higher ankle support that goes up a little bit higher, and you can see it has a little bit more of a tapered cut at the very top. The second thing, and probably the most noticeable thing, is going to be the heel support and the heel cup compared to the Speedex 18. This has a much larger heel cup and heel support on the back. It's a little bit stiffer than the Speedex 18, and then the synthetic material, this kind of textile cage, they want to call it, that runs up the side, the back of the foot right here, is a little bit stiffer as well than the Speedex 18. And you can also tell that they put much more of an emphasis on support on your heel compared to the 18, as well as the midfoot. So to me, this is a little bit more of a rigid feeling shoe compared to the 18. And on the inside, which I found really unique, and hopefully I can capture in this video, is right where your, I guess you want to call it your ankle sits. You can kind of see it's really dark because the liner is in black. There's these two little foam nubs right there. I'm trying to see if you guys I can capture it in the video. And the 18s don't have that. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever had a pair of boxing shoes that actually have these little rubber, or not rubber, foam nubs right there on your heel. And I'd say that they're maybe a ½ inch in thickness, and they have about a medium density to them. And what that does is you can actually feel when you slide your heel into the shoe. So basically, obviously your foot goes in like this, your toes go in first, and then your heel drops in. That really locks your heel into place, and it offers a much more snug support around your heel. Now, it's not uncomfortable, but you could definitely tell that your heel feels a lot more locked in compared to other boxing shoes, and even to the Speedex 18, which to me, this is kind of the improved version of that. So something that's very unique that I've never really experienced in a boxing shoe is those little two nubs across from each other that lock your heel in. And if you're looking at it from the outside, they're right about here. So again, I feel like Adidas really put an emphasis on just support on the lower part of your leg and the upper part of your foot all the way down to the heel. The material that this is made out of, basically they call it a textile upper. It's basically a synthetic mesh with a kind of polyurethane fly wire type material and cage that you find in a lot of athletic shoes, not just in Adidas, but Nike uses it, Reebok, Puma, and it's basically a synthetic mesh upper. You do have the Adidas logo that's going across the side. You also do have this plastic in that neon green that comes down and goes into that midfoot section and gives you that stability and that really nice feel of support, especially when you're using your lateral footwork and lateral movement. So when you're moving side to side, not allowing your foot to kind of roll. Another big thing with this shoe, aside from the heel, is that there's a little bit more of an emphasis on arch support. So if you have really high arched feet, you definitely will enjoy these, because even with the insole, you'll notice that there's a little bit more of a pronounced arch on the inside of the shoe compared to the other boxing shoes that sometimes are more flat-footed and you don't really get that arch support. So a lot of boxers will get their own custom orthotics or insoles and replace them. The other thing about the insole on this is that it's technically not removable. It is glued in. You can actually hear the glue separating if I pull on the insole. So if you do want to put your own custom insole, you will have to rip out the insole on this shoe. And the outsole is made out of rubber. You can see that it has that herringbone crisscross staggered pattern on the ball of the foot with that circular cutout right here for the pivoting. And the outsole is also rolled up on that edge as well as the toe. And that's it all the way around. And you also have this nice cage right here of that polyurethane material, which gives you a good amount of support and a little bit of protection for your toes as well. So if you end up bumping your toes into something, a piece of equipment when you're training, you have a little bit of protection right here. Some boxing shoes, it's all mesh and there's really no solid or rigid structure to cover your toes. So if you bang your foot into something, it's definitely gonna hurt. Coming up to the tongue area, you do have these flat laces with plastic tips with the vertical lace loops right there. I am a big fan of this type of lacing system rather than the little holes, because I feel that it's easier to lace the shoes up more smoothly and quicker, especially if you're trying to get in there and get your training on. You really want to be able to slide your shoes on, put them on really fast. So you have that. You also have this elastic tongue piece right here, the one down the middle, and you also have that synthetic mesh for the tongue. Coming up to the very top of the tongue, it does have that Adidas logo, and it does have a good amount of padding on the tongue itself. I'd say maybe a 1/4 inch of padding on the tongue. On the back side, try to show it to you guys if I can again capture. It's kind of hard with video. You do have elastic on the tongue that it kind of keeps it in place so that the tongue doesn't just drop and fall into the shoe and it's hard to retrieve. You do have the sizing tag as well as a manufacturer tag made in China with the QR code size 11. And here is the liner itself on the inside with that synthetic material. And you also have the insole. One thing that's worth mentioning is that this is made of 50% or at least 50% recycled materials, which Adidas is proud of. It says end plastic waste. So a lot of the material that's in the shoe, I don't know which particular part of the shoe, is made with synthetic material. So I guess you can say this is a little bit more of an environmentally friendly shoe compared to others that maybe don't use a recycled material. So you do have that. And again, here are the laces that come up. And I'm a huge fan of that because it's a lot easier to lace these shoes up. Very similar to like the Hyper KOs that has this type of lacing system. Performance-wise, these feel great when you put them on. I didn't get really any kind of discomfort when it came to the width of the shoe as long as I went a half size up. They're not the most well cushioned boxing shoe. If I were to compare them to like my V trainers, they're definitely not as cushioned as my V trainers from Adams Boxing. So when it comes to like doing any kind of strength training or any high impact interval training I'm doing, I personally just for myself, because I'm starting to get, my knees are starting to really feel it, and especially my lower back. I kind of avoid using these just because you don't get that thicker insole like you do with the V-Trainer. So you can do it, it's just a personal preference, but these are not the most impact resistant shoe, but and on the other hand, they're not really designed for that to begin with. These are, to me, more of a pure boxing shoe. So if you're gonna use this to do ring work, sparring, if you're a pro and you're gonna go into a fight, these will definitely be a really good shoe for you. To me, the biggest advantage between this and the 18s is going to be the ankle support being better than the 18s, especially the heel and this midsection right here. So basically from this point and back is where you're gonna see probably the most improvement compared to the 18s. The front portion of the shoe, to me, is pretty much identical when it comes to feel and sizing as the 18s. But if you're looking for something that just fits your heel better and you get a little bit more of a locked in feel, then these are definitely an improvement over the 18s. And then of course, the smaller stuff like the aesthetics, if you want a shoe that's all white with the neon green, you like that angled tapered cut at the very top of the shoe, then, you know, obviously that's subjective, and that's something that's, you know, that's a personal preference type thing. But, you know, for me, at the price point of $89, this is definitely a great buy. At $220, definitely not. I would go with the Speedex 18s at 160 bucks. To me, it's not worth the $60, am I counting it right? 40, yeah, $60 increase over the 18s, just for a little bit more of a solid heel cup and a higher tapered, ankle support. I feel like the 18s are a great shoe as well. So, you know, in terms of pricing, I would definitely either get these on sale, or I would still go with the 18s in my personal opinion. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Adidas Speedex Ultra boxing shoes. I'll see you guys later. Take care.